She probably thought this was smart. Jasmine Crockett doesn't seem to realize that her behavior is doing serious damage to both her and her party. Instead of dialing things back, well, she's doubling down with even more bizarre and divisive comments. At a recent rally, she crossed a whole new line, going on a legitimately racist tangent, so wild that even the crowd was stunned. Tyrus was not going to let it slide, calling her out mercilessly, and today we're going to cover it all. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hand. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Now, to be clear, that's the audience laughing in the background, and I'm guessing it's because of how shocked they were. The left seem to have a major problem, and if they don't fix it soon, well, it's going to become everyone's problem, including you. With each new wave of Democrat leadership, there's a clear pattern and keeps getting harder to ignore. They're drifting further and further to the left, prioritizing identity politics over any actual policy. It's no longer about economic plans, foreign policy, or even basic governance. It's about using the right buzzwords so that they can get clipped and go viral on media. You can ask them about inflation, border security, crime. You'll get vague rehearsed lines followed by a strange pivot back to race, just like Jasmine did here, tying the current illegal immigration crisis to slavery. It's all about optics. Instead of leaders, we're getting performers. Obviously, these comments didn't sit well with people. And during an appearance on Gutfeld, Tyrus went all out on her.
If you're going to talk about black history, at least know it. This is, at least know it, okay? Like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so angry right now.
So if she actually offered real solutions, the issue might get fixed, and that's the last thing she wants. And that's because if there's no problem to point fingies at, there's no way to play the race card and guilt people into voting for her. That's the game. Obama practically wrote the playbook on this strategy. He was a master at framing problems in a way that made himself the hero, even if he had a hand in creating the mess to begin with. Biden isn't too far off either. Just look at the border situation. His administration's open door approach created one of the worst immigration crises in modern history in any country. Then he turned around and told Congress that unless new laws were passed, the problem couldn't be fixed. It's like lighting a fire, then running for office as the firefighter. It's manipulative, but it's effective until people start catching on. Thankfully, more and more voters are starting to see through this act.
When you hear people speak like this, you're like, that's black leadership?
Yeah.
See?
They canceled Kelly Osbourne for making that exact same point on The View. When Kelly Osbourne goes, Mr. Trump, who's going to clean your toilets if all the Mexicans go home? And now Kelly Osbourne doesn't have a job and was shamed by the left for just making a point that rich people need, people that aren't as rich to clean the toilets. They called her racist. But then this lady is now doing it, 6, 7 years later?
Well, to be fair,
I think it was Sharon Osbourne.
Sharon Osbourne spoke in complete sentences.
Right.
No, it was it was her daughter.
Yeah,
Kelly Osbourne.
Yeah, it was like on The View.
It was
or
Kelly
something.
Osbourne.
She spoke in a complete sentence that we were like, oh, damn, Crockett, we have no clue what she's saying.
Yeah.
It's the party of double standards. They're going to praise billionaires like George Soros or Bill Gates for investing in democracy when they dump millions into left-wing campaigns and causes. But the moment someone like Elon Musk decides to not only put up his money, but also get personally involved, suddenly it's a crisis. By the way, I've noticed you haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, so what are you waiting for? Now take election skepticism as another example. When Hillary Clinton questioned the results of 2016, the media called it brave. When Stacey Abrams refused to concede in Georgia, they applauded her as a fighter. But if conservatives even raise an eyebrow over election integrity, well, they're a threat to democracy. They've got a rule book that only applies one way, and they don't even try to hide it anymore. Jesse Waters also gave his 2 cents on this entire fiasco and actually made some valid points.
Jesse, what do you think of the idea that we need illegals because the blacks aren't picking cotton anymore?
I don't like that idea, Judge, and I think it's pretty racist. But, you know, whether it's guest, right, of course, whether it's a guest worker program, whether it's people that come here seasonally, I guess some jobs in agricultural, you have to have the people south of the border do it. But that's not really the issue. That's not the jobs they're taking. They're taking actually good blue collar jobs all over the country. Look at the south side of Chicago. They didn't want them there, and it's driving down wages, and she should know better. Authenticity is obvious on the right because we do the work. We will sit for an hour or 3 on a podcast and let it rip. You can't hide on a 3-hour podcast. You can hide if you're a Democrat in the press because they'll just baby you and they won't ask you anything and they won't even debate you.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine the kind of wild ride a 3-hour Jasmine Crockett podcast would be? We've already seen how things go off the rails in just a few minutes during her short interviews. She starts off talking about one thing, then out of nowhere goes to some weird tangent, then another thing. It's the left's media machine ignoring everything she says, acting like nothing is happening. So far, she called the governor of Texas, who is unfortunately paralyzed after a tree fell on him, Governor Hot Wheels, threatened to knock Ted Cruz on his head, and incited violence towards Elon Musk and Tesla. It's the perfect example of selective outrage because if these comments were made by someone on the right, well, we'd be drowning in endless coverage as if the world were going to end in 30 minutes.
But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about oligarchs.
I'll say one thing for sure. The Democrat Party right now looks more fragmented than ever. You've got Cory Booker delivering a marathon speech that no one even talked about just a few days later. Then there's Bernie Sanders and AOC going on tour like they're a political version of a rock band, trying to fire up a base that clearly is losing interest. Let's not forget Tim Walz, who out here is trying to prove he's the most masculine man in the country, despite most of his claims either being totally fake or wildly exaggerated. You'd think after such a big loss, they'd come together and think about what policies are appealing to voters or have a unified leadership, but no. Everyone's working to ensure their party stays irrelevant for years to come. I'd love to know your thoughts here, though, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you want your friends to get their coverage from an independent source like us, please share the video with them. It means the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.